Hello everyone! Have you ever thought about your own pedigree and about their past life structures? No? Then you do not realize how their impact on future generations is global and necessary. It is important to know that the future of humanity develops in relation to ancient peoples' acts, and this bond is really strong. Consequently, my ancestors had an essential influence on my life and on the lives of other descendants from our lineage as well. First of all, everyone has their own great-grandparents who started their life long time ago. Personally, my great-grandparents lived in the beginning of the 20th century. My father's grandparents are Anna and Nikola Swiderskis, and they originated from Poland. My mother's grandparents are Tatiana and Vasily Tereshenkis, and they were Crimeans. The Swiderskis emigrated from the Polish Republic in 1920s to Ukraine because of significant changes after the First World War. There was a sharp drop in the number of Poland's population, and more than 35,000 citizens died. This led to a proliferation of governmental issues, financial damages and losses that made local people suffer. Anna was pregnant and there wasn't enough money to maintain the whole family. For that reason, she, together with Nikola, decided to leave their native country and establish a better life out of Polish boundaries. At the same time, the Tereshenkis were working in Crimean employment and helping to rehabilitate the economical post-war state. It was also very difficult for them to live in split commonwealth. However, Vasily and Tatiana started to save up earned money for inheritors and for their future house. In general, these facts prove that my ancestors were determined to refine their critical plight. The Swiderskis and the Tereshenkis endeavor to provide their close people with a peaceful and comfortable future. Modern people should always remember that our ancestors are heroes that overcame plenty of giant obstacles. This exact flashback is important for every person who now lives in a well-equipped world without forced obligations and slavery. The previous times were unbelievably dangerous and our ancient relatives experienced a lot of disasters. For instance, in 1939, the 1st of September, the Second World War began. It was one of the most valuable events in the history, and countries such as Japan, France, the United States of America, Russia, Germany, Ukraine, and many others took part in cruel life competition. There were 85 million of deaths, and as the history on the net says, around 15 million soldiers died in battle during World War II. My great-grandparents participated in the war too. The new house of Tereshenkis was totally demolished by the opponents, and the main part of their saved income were spent on vital stocks such as foods, medicines, and clothes. Their entrepreneurial activity did not last long, as the need in native attendants increased. So Vasily was taken up as a soldier of Crimean army, and Tatiana impatiently waited for him in shelters. She often rendered medical help to wounded people. In the meantime, Anna, Nikola, and Serafina Swiderskis were surviving in a complicated Ukrainian situation. Anna and her little daughter Serafina were hiding on forest ditches and hoping that Nikola would not be hurt on military front. In conclusion, the Second World War had totally horrible consequences, and I will never forget that my ancestors endured all its nightmarish tortures. By knowing the truth about this historical period, young people will not be indifferent to their own pedigree that gave them the opportunity to live in a peaceful world. The feats and achievements of our ancient relatives are distinguished and important for contemporary humans. Before these days, people lived without any modern opportunities, and simultaneously, they were able to provide their descendants with a fortunate and evolving future. Despite of all the global issues, they rolled up their sleeves and launched a building process of solid civil foundations. Specifically for my ancestors, the losses were really substantial and material. Nevertheless, they took a deep breath and started rehabilitating their living plight again. The Swiderskis found considerable and lucrative work in Kiev's clothes factory. As Nikola was serving in the National Army, the government recompensed his post-war damage with a free flat. The Swiderskis settled down joyfully in their own accommodation. After that, they provide their daughter Serafina with secondary school education and started raising their second child, Maria. At the same time, the Tereshenkas were recruited in a large Crimean waterfront company. This special employment helped them to earn enough money to build their big two-story house near the coast of Black Sea. When they finished assembling their common place of living, Tatiana was pregnant with her first child. A bit later, Vasily became the general manager of the port company, which supplied him with a great salary. From that moment, the Tereshenkas could afford themselves to be privileged and absolutely independent from national shackles. Actually, for both families, it was very difficult to restore their properties and continue the life in silent rhythm as before the war. On the other hand, the relatives got over all their complications successfully. They embodied their wishes in reality and subsequently influenced the lives of their future generations advantageously. In conclusion, every single person has unique pedigree which have a firm connection with their descendants. Untroubled existence of the youth is a result of their ancient relatives' deeds, and this memory will be remembered by the whole modernity. Personally, I admire and I'm really thankful for the inconceivable accomplishments that my ancestors had achieved during their complex life pathways. Their efforts are not comparable to anything else, and this truth will remain in my flashbacks everlastingly. I hope you will never let yourself forget the great actions of our previous generations. See you soon. Farewell.